Here we're in the Camargue. This is the delta wetlands of the Rhone River, south of Arles and considerably south of Paris, along the southern Mediterranean shoreline. The area you see behind me is a salt pan. It's an area that's inundated very infrequently by saline water, and as a result, salt can build up in the soil. It's not leached out by the tides. And we have some salt-tolerant species growing among this community. The tussocks behind me are tussocks, these tussocks being these round patches of vegetation, are tussocks of a succulent that's highly adapted to flooding. It's probably the genus Salicornia, or a closely related genus here in Europe. Another species we have in Louisiana, it's Limonium. It's found throughout the world, and it's a highly salt-tolerant species. A species of Juncus, for instance, is also within this area. But what's unique about this little patch, this little habitat, is the fact that it's a salt pan, high salinity area with species adapted to growing in high salinity. Some species here have salt glands that excrete salt. Other species use dilution, have a high water content, and they dilute the salt content, the salt that they take up. So we're going to look at some other habitats here in the Camargue as well. The saltwater sometimes extends far up along the gradient, the elevational gradient, and when it does, it can inundate these areas of trees that are not salt tolerant. And as you can see behind me, that these trees are now dead. So at some point in the past, the recent past, saltwater did affect this area and cause tree mortality. I don't know what tree it is then, too.
We're still in the Camargue, which is the delta of the Rhone River. And one of the dominant species in the Camargue is Phragmites australis. The common name is rosocane. And it has a global distribution and occurs all over the world in the Mississippi River Delta and many other deltas of the world. This is a stand of it. It tends to occur in fresher areas, and in Europe they're having a problem with it because it's dying back in some locations. The cause of that dieback is not really certain, but some researchers think that it has something to do with the buildup of sulfide, which is a reduced phytotoxin buildup in the soil, and this is causing death of the plants and dieback of large stands of Phragmites. Behind me you see what is called Le Vaccaret, which is a lagoon located in the Camargue, and it's connected to saltier lagoons to the south, the Imperial and the Lion, which communicate or connect to the sea. And the salinity of the Vaccaret is strongly connected to the periods of rainfall from year to year. And generally, the Vaccaret receives rainwater in the winter and agricultural discharge of water in the summer. And water leaves the system through both evaporation and outflow to the sea during flood. An extensive area of brackish water is essential for a lot of different types of species of fish, such as smelt, and also some migratory species such as sole, or also as a nursery for eel in some of the coastal lagoons. When the water is less saline, you have species such as carp, brim, and the Danube catfish.
We're at the far southern end of the Camargue right now, and this is just to the west of the Rhone River, behind a barrier beach. Remember, this is a Mediterranean climate, so very little rain during most of the year, only rain in the winter, and as a result the salinities can get high, and the marsh vegetation reflects that. And behind me is a natural salt marsh. Hasn't been grazed as far as we can tell, at least not recently, and contains a very high number of species, plant species, given the salinity here. This area has traditionally been used for salt farming. This is an area of high evaporation, and throughout the Rhone Delta there are large areas that are salt ponds that have been levied off as for salt ponds. These are areas where they're allowed to inundate with a certain amount of salt water, and again this is very high salinity water. Then they're closed off so that the salt water evaporates and the salt of course accumulates, and as a result salt production is a big industry down here, and there are really some huge mounds, tremendous hills really of salt mined in this particular way using salt ponds.